have you ever noticed how the loudest person in the room is rarely the most powerful? In a world that glorifies noise, shouting for attention, and constant self-promotion, there's a different kind of strength, one that doesn't need to announce itself. This is the path of the quiet alpha. It's not about being shy or withdrawn. It's about understanding that true power is cultivated in silence. Today, we're diving into the 8 rules that define this philosophy. Rules that can transform how you navigate the world and how the world perceives you. So, get ready to learn why silence isn't emptiness, but the ultimate strategy. Rule number 1. Silence is not emptiness. It is strategy. Think about it. Most people are terrified of silence. In a conversation, that brief pause feels awkward, so they rush to fill it with anything: opinions, reactions, nervous chatter. They operate on the assumption that being loud means being in control. The quiet alpha knows this is a fundamental mistake. Silence isn't a void. It's a space for observation, for control. When you stay silent, you're not losing the conversation. You're actually winning it. You're giving others the space to reveal themselves, to show their cards, to speak recklessly because while they're busy filling the air with noise, you're gathering information. When they talk, you learn. When you stay silent, you gain power. This brings us to rule number 2. Speak less, but say more. Anyone can talk. It's easy to ramble, to fill time with words that have no real substance. But how many people speak with genuine purpose? The quiet alpha isn't interested in being heard by everyone. His goal is to be listened to by the people who matter. He speaks only when his words have weight, when they can shift the dynamic of the room. There's no need for pointless arguments, no desperate attempts to convince others, and no long, rambling explanations to justify his position. He understands a simple, powerful truth. The more you talk, the more you reveal about your insecurities, your weaknesses, and your intentions. And the more you reveal, the easier you are for others to predict and control. So, he conserves his words. And because he's built a reputation for only speaking when it matters, when he finally does speak, the silence he commanded beforehand has already prepared the entire room to listen. Rule number 3 is crucial. The emotion you cannot control controls you. We've all seen it. Anger makes a person predictable and easy to provoke. Desperation makes them appear weak and willing to accept a bad deal. Uncontrolled excitement leads to impulsive, often foolish, decisions. The quiet alpha understands this dynamic perfectly. He doesn't suppress his emotions, he feels them deeply, but he disciplines them. He doesn't react impulsively to situations. He responds with calculated thought. He knows that his emotions are his own, and he refuses to showcase them carelessly for others to exploit. Because in any negotiation, any conflict, any high-stakes situation, the person who cannot control their emotions will always be at the mercy of the person who can. Being cold isn't about being heartless. It's about being strategic. Next up, rule number 4. Attention is a currency. Spend it wisely. Our modern world is an engine designed for distraction. Your phone buzzes with notifications. Social media feeds you an endless stream of trends, drama, and gossip. It's all cheap bait, designed to capture your focus. The quiet alpha recognizes a fundamental law of power. What you give your attention to, you give your power to. Every moment you spend on a petty argument, every ounce of energy you waste responding to a provocation, every second you invest in meaningless drama, is energy you can never get back. He doesn't chase every debate. He doesn't get drawn into every conflict. He simply refuses to entertain fools. He's incredibly selective with his focus, because focus is energy. And that energy, when directed with precision, becomes an unstoppable force for achieving his goals. This leads us to rule number 5. Distance is protection, not isolation. The quiet alpha is not always available, and that's by design. Not every call gets answered immediately. Not every invitation is accepted. Our culture often confuses solitude with loneliness, but they are two vastly different things. Loneliness is a painful lack of connection. Solitude, on the other hand, is a conscious choice of space where strength, clarity, and self-awareness are forged. By strategically creating distance, he gains a clearer perspective on situations, untangled from the emotional noise of the crowd. By limiting access to himself, he inherently increases his own value. He doesn't fear being alone. He has mastered it, because only those who are comfortable standing in their own silence can walk into the chaotic world and remain unshakable. Rule number 6 is where strategy turns into results. Move in silence. Let your results announce you. Weak men love to talk about their grand plans. They broadcast their intentions, their resolutions, their next big move. They're seeking validation before they've even started. Strong men, however, understand that actions are the only things that create noise that matters. The quiet alpha doesn't give warnings. He doesn't try to hype up his own transformation. Jets to work. He upgrades his skills, his body, his mindset, all behind the scenes, quietly and consistently. And then he reappears, suddenly. By the time people notice the change, it's not just a plan anymore. It's a reality. And reality is something no one can argue with. This brings us to rule number 7. Observe more than you engage. In any social setting, most people are just waiting for their turn to speak. They're formulating their response while the other person is still talking. But the quiet alpha does the opposite. Wait, not because he's slow, but because he's calculating. He's a student of human nature. He watches how people treat the waiter when they think no one important is looking. He listens to the things they complain about, revealing their insecurities and frustrations. He notices what makes them laugh, and more importantly, what they deliberately ignore. People will tell you everything you need to know about them when they believe no one is paying close attention. But he is always paying attention. He is always studying. Because information is the ultimate advantage, and advantage is what wins wars, big or small. And finally, we arrive at rule number 8. Evolve in private. Return unrecognizable. The most profound transformations in life don't happen under a spotlight. They don't get live-tweeted or posted on Instagram. They happen behind closed doors, in the quiet hours when the rest of the world is distracted. The quiet alpha disappears for a while, not because he wants to be missed, but because he is focused on becoming more. He chooses to read while others are endlessly scrolling. He chooses to build his business while others are out partying. He puts in the work while others are sleeping. And when he returns, people are often confused. You've changed, they'll say, sometimes with a hint of accusation. But he hasn't just changed. He has upgraded. He has evolved. And he didn't do it to impress them. He did it to surpass his former self. So, what is the final lesson in all of this? It's simple. Power doesn't need to announce itself. True strength doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't beg for recognition or seek applause. It simply exists quietly, confidently, and unshaken by the noise of the world. The quiet alpha doesn't need to prove himself to anyone. His silence is his shield. His discipline is his voice. His actions are his message. And in a world that is getting louder and more chaotic every day, this quiet strength is what makes him unforgettable, often without him having to say a single word. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the power of silence. If these ideas resonated with you, let me know in the comments which rule you're going to start applying in your own life. And if you want more content on building real, unshakable strength, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, stay strong and stay focused.